Morning and welcome to Sparks. You know, hearing the words, "your child is dead," can crush your spirit. More than once, David heard those words. More than once, he was devastated in sorrow. He heard that of the loss of Bathsheba's baby, heard the same words when Amnon, and now also he heard the same words when his son Absalom was killed. You know, he was overwhelmed with sorrow. We don't know what David was thinking about God in those moments, but Joab confronted David when Absalom had been killed, and he said he needed to set his grief aside long enough to fulfill his duty as king. See, grief changes us, but it doesn't stop life. Grief itself doesn't remain the same for very long. You suffer loss, you grieve, but life goes on around you. After that initial blow when your world is turned upside down, then later on you've got the opportunity to continue to move forward. And perhaps the greatest way to honour the dead is to live the rest of your life to the full. Grief also affects us in many ways. One clue is that how we are not to respond to grief in a healthy way is for our whole world to stop and all we do is concentrate on grief. So David had to take command again. He had to be a leader again even after his son had been killed. His son, who was rebelling against him, had been killed. In times of grief, we discover just how close we can be to God. Although David was filled with sorrow, his grief didn't become a barrier between him and God. He realized that God loved him and had a plan and a hope for his future, just the same way he had before his son had died. See, David said, "The Lord is my shepherd," because he experienced all the grace of God in his times of need. And in times we spend in communion with God, when normal activity seems to go on around us, sometimes we've got to step aside in our grief and seek the Lord ourselves. But although life goes on, people don't understand the grief that you might be going through right now. The greatest way to honour those who have passed away already is to live your life to the full. So if you're grieving at the moment, yes, allow yourself a chance to grieve. Yes, allow yourself a chance to recover, but don't get lost in it, because there's a greater picture. There is more to be done for the Lord before you and I are called home. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow on Sparks.